Hello, everybody. Welcome back to season 2
of Not Crimes and Closings anymore.
I just got that down too, so
You really did.
I did. You guys were not privy to my crimes and closings at the beginning of every single episode.
Yes, it became our mantra.
Yes, it is. So I am Jenny Olson-Paden.
I am Dia Cappleman.
And we are now that kind of podcast.
Yes.
What kind of podcast, you ask?
That kind of podcast.
Yes. Not the podcast you bring home to mom.
No.
Not the podcast. Not that kind of podcast that you listen to with kiddos in the car.
Probably not.
No.
And not because we're going gruesome with it. We don't want to be one of those shock value podcasts.
Right.
We want to be one that gives the victims a voice.
Yes. But we might use some potty words.
We might.
Yeah.
In being more true to ourselves.
Yes. That was one of the things we got because, yeah.
We got feedback, and we tried to listen to your feedback, and that's why we're making some of these changes.
Yep.
And some of the feedback was, you guys are great, but you don't sound like yourselves.
Yep.
So we're going to be a little more true to ourselves.
Yes. And I promise I will not use the F word like punctuation. But
yes,
but we will.
So we'll rein it back a little bit. Yeah. But sometimes if we get a little fired up,
are you saying that I use the F word as punctuation? Because we do need to rein it back. Because I guess I do.
You did, yeah. I'm glad we solved that quickly.
I won't take offense.
Yes.
So, but we have a new logo,
a
new name, a new podcast name, new email. And that will be kind of trickling through our Facebook page and Instagram and
so stay
social
tuned
media.
For all of that.
Yeah.
That's going to be changing. Another thing that we wanted to change about our podcast, listening to your feedback, is there's no more real estate.
Yep.
We are going to focus just on true crime.
Yep. Yeah. Now, if you have a real estate question, we're happy to take
yes.
it. I mean, we're not leaving real estate, so our brokers can take a big deep breath of relief.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're here.
We're still in real estate. Always will be.
The podcast is just going to focus on true crime.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then I think the biggest change we're going to make, and this kind of happened organically, like if you listen back to the past couple episodes that we were doing, and then when we were talking about it, it became, we really want to give the victims a voice.
Yep.
I think so often in this genre, it almost becomes this glorification of these perpetrators.
Right. And
we don't want that.
Nope. No, we want the victims to have a voice and for you to know the victims' names.
Yes.
Probably even more so than the criminals.
Yeah. So, I think that would be much more important. If you can leave knowing
a little
at
something.
least who they were, and a little bit about their life, then we've done our job.
Exactly. So welcome to season 2
of our. I mean, it's season 2, but it's kind of like a brand new.
It is a brand new. It is. It's
maybe we'll title this one "Season 2 Rebirth."
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, can you still do like stuff at the top?
Yeah, I should be able to. I'll put
Rebirth.
Yes. Okay, sounds good.
So, I'm starting this season off with 2-parters, which is also new for us, and so that's kind of exciting.
And we forgot to mention the most exciting.
What?
We're going to be every week now.
Every week. We did forget about that.
I know. So we will be every week. We were releasing on Tuesdays, so stay tuned for September 6th. Mm-hmm. Well, which is today, maybe, if they're watching it today.
Yes.
Yeah, so
stay tuned for today.
Stay tuned for today. So September 6th, which is may or may not be today, and the people that are watching it 20 years in the future will be like what's
it's not today.
Yeah.
It could have been yesterday.
Yeah. It's so September 6th. It's a good day.
Whenever works for you. Yes, we are going to release every week, which means you get to see more of us, and we get to do more true crime.
Yay.
Very exciting.
Yes, very exciting.
And so that means that you don't have to wait 2 weeks to find out what happened in this story, because I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger. After all of your unsolves that you've done to me, I feel like it's fair.
I guess. Yeah, I'll accept that.
Okay. We good?
We good.
Let's start it then.
All right.
We are going to talk about Lorraine and William Currier.
Okay.
Lorraine was 55 years old, and William was 50 years old when they were reported missing to the Essex, Vermont Police Department.
That's a mouthful.
It was. Actually,
you got it.
You did pretty good on that. Yeah.
That's what you were practicing beforehand.
I was Essex, Vermont. Currier. They were reported missing on Thursday, June 9th, 2011 by Diana Smith. And Diana Smith was actually William's sister,
Okay.
but worked with Lorraine.
Oh, that's cool. So they were a pretty intertwined family.
They were.
Okay.
And that works out very well because when Lorraine didn't show up to work, Diana kind of went to 100.
Yeah.
It wasn't normal for Lorraine. She was very reliable, and you could basically set a clock to her. If she was late, something was wrong.
Right.
So for her not to show up and not have any scheduled time off, vacation, sick leave, nothing.
Right.
So Diana tried calling William at his job, and his job said, well, he hasn't come into work either.
Mm.
And immediately Diana went into hyperdrive saying, uh-oh,
Yeah.
I gotta go there, I gotta see what's going on. So she called their home, nobody answered, left right away, and found that the house was locked up, their car wasn't in the garage. But it was still weird enough that she called the police.
Yeah.
She didn't even,
I think that would be the worst thing, is, the
hesitate.
police would have the, we need to wait 48 hours, and you're like, I know these people.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, especially not with their car in the garage.
Right.
Because you could sit there and try and reason with yourself and say, oh, but maybe they left somewhere. Maybe they just, both of them are gone.
Yeah.
They just took off for a weekend trip. But Diana said no. No.
I like you, Diana.
Yes. So when the Essex Police Department arrived, there was an open window in their garage.
Okay.
So the police entered that way. Once they did, they saw a broken window on the door from the garage into the house.
Mm.
And
That doesn't sound good.
no. And when they opened the door and went inside, there was so much glass so far into the kitchen. It was a very forceful break. So whoever
Right.
did it, it was hard and
Yeah.
quick. They also found that the telephone lines were cut.
That's a good thing about now, is that we have the cell phones, and there's no...
We do. But you have cell phone jammers.
I know.
So, I mean, cell phones are better, but they're still not a great option.
Yeah, that's true. There's always courier pigeons.
I mean, there are. You could always, I guess, try and wrap a little note around their leg and send them off. But I've seen the movies where they shoot the courier pigeons. So,
Yeah,
is
man.
there any...
There's no true fire. No surefire wire.
No.
I can't even talk. No surefire way.
Except Morse code. I don't think that could be...
God only knows what you just said. We're gonna
What?
we're gonna get an
I
angry,
didn't mean to offend anyone who...
get an angry letter. I cannot believe you just said that. And on YouTube.
Whoever speaks Morse code, practices Morse code. How do you performs
Morse code.
Morse code? Morse coders?
Translates Morse code.
Translates. Okay.
That's
I apologize to anyone what I might have said. I wasn't going for the
We
words.
are not that kind of podcast, Dia.
I'm so sorry. I just went with what sounded really fun while I
it
was
is.
beeping.
You're much better. I was just pounding. You were actually.
Well, because I think of the old movies and you hear that
Yeah. That was
over the
Yeah.
newest headline says. You're like the 1930s announcer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what's in my head.
Okay.
All right, well. So they didn't have courier pigeons or Morse code. They just disappeared.
Okay.
Everything looked normal other than the broken glass inside their home.
Okay.
The couriers did have pet birds, and the pet birds were in their cages.
Were they pigeons?
I don't know. Did they have pigeons and didn't get a chance to use them?
That sucks. Now, okay, but here's the deal. Depending on what kind of bird it is. Now, I have an African gray parrot.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever go missing or die, look at her.
It's that bad?
It's that bad. She loves my husband. She will talk to him in my voice. It's real.
She wants you out of the picture.
She wants me out of the picture, and she'll give me dirty looks, and when I'm cleaning her cage, she'll actually go to the edge of the cage and try to poop on me. She's a feisty. She's almost 40, so she's an old girl. She's old enough to know better. Mm-hmm. But man, oh man, just so you know, it's not the husband, it's the bird.
Well, I don't know if they ever actually looked into the birds on this case. I didn't find any research on. I didn't know
That
to
would be my first
research that.
My first.
But the cages were covered.
Okay, so I don't know. Bailey can kind of cover herself sometimes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I have a feeling since this is not unsolved, the birds probably didn't do it.
If it's me, it's not unsolved.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think the birds are clear in this instance. But
just know,
for future reference,
it's my bird.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. The police also didn't find any notes, any calendar entries, any appointments in their books. They found nothing explaining why they would be gone, as far as vacation, any time off. They found his diabetes medication, his wallet. They found her heart medicine.
So very important things.
Contacts, yes. What they would never have left with if they had left on their own accord.
Right.
And the really sad thing is, if they had left with someone trying to keep them alive for very long, that's all stuff that you would have to have that stayed there.
Yeah.
They had credit cards and, like I said, his wallet, and no activity was ever
shown. So there's really no motive. And these people sounded like kind of salt of the earth, like
they were very structured, sounded very almost just normal, benign people. They had a normal marriage. Mm-hmm. Everyone described them as nice, calm homebodies.
It's like me. I'm like in my pajamas hanging out with my pets.
Yes, that's literally what they did. They just hung out with their birds. There were no signs of burglary, no signs of struggle. Nothing was ransacked. So it seemed to be just, they disappeared.
Oh, man.
The following day, so June 10th, 2011, the Currier's car was found about 2 miles from their home, parked in an apartment complex. And they're thinking the apartment complex because it would be harder to notice a car that was sitting there for a while. A piece of the broken glass was found from the garage door window in the front of the passenger seat. But that was it as far as any forensics goes.
Right.
The bad thing was, what they also found was the contents of the trunk had been moved to the back passenger seat. And the only reason that you would move something out of the trunk is
to carry something big.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yes. So at this point, the Essex Police Department realized, we don't know what happened, but it was bad.
Something happened.
Yeah. Something went terribly wrong. So they called the FBI right away.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. I mean, that's like,
It should. They had no pride in this whatsoever. Okay. They were able to say,
let's do this.
Help. Yes. So the FBI sent out the Behavioral Analysis Unit to try and get anything on this that they could. However, it kind of dead-ended.
Right.
Because there were no forensics on it. There was nothing else reported that they knew of at that time that was similar to it. So they couldn't even say, this is a pattern. There was no pattern there.
Right.
The Behavioral Analysis Unit determined that the Curriers were a very low to moderate risk for any violent crime. So that made it
That's
even
scary.
more baffling.
Yeah.
Yes. They didn't have any issues that would cause them to want to leave as well. So no issues in their marriage, no financial strains. They were literally just run-of-the-mill. Yes. And so it looked like they would have been targeted because there were no signs of burglary.
Right.
Because the perpetrator came in just for them, left just with them, and that was it. But then you get back to, but why were they targeted?
Right.
Nobody could understand who would want to hurt them.
Right.
And that's it. That is where our story about the Curriers will end for right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun. I was going to say,
dun.
now I have questions.
Well, feel free to ask your questions, but...
Did they find the Curriers?
I can't answer that.
See? I can ask the questions, she just won't answer.
Yes. So now we are going to, for a very short bit of this, because...
Do we need our whiteboard again?
We might kind of need our whiteboard, because we are now going from Vermont up to Alaska.
Okay. A little far.
A little far.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we're going to take a bit of a drive. So 8 months later, on February 1st, 2012, 18-year-old Samantha Koenig was kidnapped.
Okay.
She was working at her job, which was a drive-through coffee stand in the middle of a fairly busy parking lot.
Right.
And on camera, you can see her get startled by something, go to turn off the lights. Someone comes through the window.
Okay, that's just creepy.
It's so creepy.
And like, I go through a lot of coffee drive-thrus, and that takes some skill.
To go through the window?
Yeah.
I'd
be like, excuse me, pardon me. there goes the creamer.
Excuse me, I'm trying to, can you pull a little bit? Just...
My hips are stuck.
Okay, this is awkward. Do you have any grease or anything? I can't get my back.
Caramel syrup. Just put the caramel syrup on.
Okay, if you go around the front and like try and push me through the back, maybe.
Oh my god, poor girl.
Yes.
That would just creep me in. This guy has like a thing for windows.
Oh, he does have a thing for. Well, I mean, windows are his easy access point.
See, I'm like seeing him like crawl in and put his like knee up, and that would just be creepy. I'm sorry.
Like scary movie
Poor thing.
creepy. Yeah,
poor girl.
And he had a gun, so she couldn't fight back. She couldn't run away. She's only 18.
Yeah, poor thing.
So yeah, she was frozen. And so he made her turn off the lights, and he's wearing a ski mask, but you're talking about Alaska.
Right.
I mean, it's not that weird. So, as far as we can see just from the camera, she just disappears from there. A little bit later, a few hours later, she sent a text to her boyfriend saying, "Hey, I'm spending a couple days with friends. Let Dad know." And her boyfriend, much like Diana, went,
Yeah.
No, this doesn't sound like her. This isn't her.
Does she own a pet bird?
Wait, no, this isn't unsolved. So we know that it wasn't the bird.
So it wasn't the bird.
Yes.
Okay, the birds are in the clear. Bailey, you're not in the clear.
Always check for the birds.
Always check for the birds.
I mean, you can follow all sorts of crime tips if you listen
I'm telling
to
you.
us. So then after that text, her boyfriend and her dad started freaking out. The boyfriend drove up, the dad drove up, she wasn't there. They talked to the owner of the coffee shop. He actually came in and reviewed the tape, and then that's when they saw what happened to her. So not only is she missing, now you're watching her literally disappear.
Right.
I can't imagine how terrifying that would be.
No.
We later learn that when they got out to the parking lot, and this is all off camera, she actually did try to run away and screamed for help, but the perpetrator subdued her, caught her, and
Poor thing.
dragged her back into his car. There were so many opportunities that someone could have seen something, and it just so happened that they didn't, which is so sad. So then on February 24th, so she was abducted the 1st. This is now the 24th without hearing anything, knowing anything about what was going on. I mean, they did searches. The community was up in arms over this, but there was literally nothing. Someone texted her boyfriend from her phone telling him to look for a package in a local park. In that package, police found a photo of Samantha with a current newspaper.
Okay, so that just chaps my ass. It's like, not only are you going to take these people's girlfriend and daughter, you're going to tease them about it. And that makes me really angry. That makes me like ball peen hammer hangry. Hangry? Angry. Not hangry. Angry.
I agree.
I'd start
I feel
at the
like
toes, work my way up, and make his life very inconvenient.
Okay, see, that's where you and I are different, because you're saying ball peen hammer, and I'm thinking that's way too small.
Yeah.
But you're more slow and methodical and I'm more chaos hurricane.
Yeah. Yes, people like that don't deserve the easy way out of chaos hurricane. They deserve a long period of ball peen hammer. Can't talk. And a hangry
Ball peen.
And a hangry Jenny, apparently.
A hangry Jenny could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I can. So, yeah, that just...
No, I agree with you. I think that it should be slow and methodical, but I don't have the patience for that. I need...
That's why we make a good team.
Yes.
Okay. So
I need them to, like, be gone as quickly
they'll be gone
as possible. But I need it done quick. Like, I'm not one of those bad guys that could sit there and have a whole conversation and all of that. I would be one of those.
I'm a Bond supervillain.
Are you?
Yes. Got my bird.
Not your bird, because
she hates me.
That might be a little iffy. She might turn on you.
She would. She would throw me under the bus.
Okay, so not the bird.
Not the bird.
But
okay.
we'll find you another. We'll find something. A gecko, maybe. Perhaps.
Yes.
That would strike fear into the hearts of men. Jenny and her gecko. So, yes. And it took 21 days.
Yeah.
Or 23. I can do math, I swear.
Yeah.
So, all of that time you're searching, trying to find out. And
what happened to your kid?
And then 23 days later, all of a sudden, this asshole pops up with, oh, by the way.
Yeah. I'd be like, the game is, this is where, like, Mel Gibson, give me back my son.
Yes.
I'd be like, the game is on.
Yeah.
The game is on. And it'd be hard to do that because it'd be your kid. But, yeah.
I would defer to you on that. Because I don't feel like I feel like I would be more of the hurricane. I would burn the city down trying to find my child.
Yeah.
Whereas you would be knocking on the doors. Hello. We need to have a conversation.
Let me introduce you to my bird.
My gecko. You're having a gecko.
With a boa constrictor around my neck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very reptilian. All right. So, they found a photo of her with a current newspaper. They also found a note demanding $30,000 deposited into her bank account. So the money was deposited, and the FBI set up alerts with her bank to be notified immediately when there was any activity on it.
Okay.
So they are being very proactive on this, which sounds really good. But the problem was, whenever there was activity, by the time the bank was notified of it, then notified the police, and then the police would get to wherever it happened, the person was already gone.
Oh, that would be so frustrating.
I mean, think about how quick an ATM transaction happens. It's seconds.
Yeah.
And whenever they would look at the surveillance, the person was always wearing some sort of disguise, ski mask, all of that. They were searching for a ghost, almost.
Yeah.
And the first ping did start in Anchorage.
Okay.
So you're back to the ski mask. Alaska seemed normal. So somebody going up in a ski mask to an ATM machine wouldn't stand out. The next ping was in Arizona.
Oh, for the love.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So now we've gone from on our imaginary map, Vermont, Alaska, Arizona.
Yes.
And that's where we're going to pause this episode. Dun, dun, dun. To be continued.
Fun. No fun.
I know.
You have to wait a week.
You have to wait a week. Now, if you're a big fan of true crime, if you've studied a lot of them, the fact that I've told you about Vermont and Alaska would already send off alerts, and you know what we're going to talk about. But if you haven't, stay tuned, because this is like your passion project. It kind of is. And I think the psychology behind this particular story is fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and how scary it can actually be. I mean, like,
yes.
You have the criminals that, like our good friend Ed Kemper, that kind of had
He is not our good friend. Why do you keep trying to get him on this podcast?
Is this guy alive? Can we get him on the podcast?
I can't tell you that.
Okay. So we have somebody that has, like, say, Ed Kemper, our enemy Ed Kemper, who kind of has an MO.
Very much.
Now we have
Don't hitchhike, and 50, you're safe from Ed Kemper.
50 to 55 to 18. Mm-hmm. In now 3 different states.
Technically two different states, but one ping in another state, so who knows what's going on down there.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes. And, I mean, complete opposites.
Yeah.
Sides of the country, so... But are they related?
Tune in next week for that kind of podcast.
We'll see you later.
Bye.